They head off on the warm-up lap as we check the Fuso starting grid for you. The story is that a Ford is on pole position, and it's the guy who's been so good in the last 2 rounds, Chaz Mostert. Excellent work by Caruso, joining him on the front row. Those Pro Drive racing machines on row 3. Fabian Coulthard, Neil dealt with it on the grid, the contact that he had in the second qualifying with his teammate Dale Wood. Rick Kelly, the Nissans have some speed here, and they've had form at this venue in 2013, so can they pull it off today? Will Davison just outside the top 10. Craig Lowndes, the man who is on top of the point standings at present, he's still looking for his 100th race win in the championship. Good stuff. It's a milestone meeting for the Holden Racing team, but as Garth dealt with the interview on the grid, it hasn't been a great qualifying to celebrate that yet. Anything can happen in this game. David Wall out of position 23, and his teammate, it was heartbreaking for McLaughlin in qualifying to go off at turn 3. There was oil down all around the circuit from a previous race, and it made it so challenging. Recap of the point standings, Neil.
And that cushion that Craig Lowndes has got, and we're watching him work those tyres at the moment, is 52 points. And when you start down the order in 14th position, where he'll start this race from, you know that it's going to be difficult to maintain it. So this is going to be about risk management for Craig Lowndes, just trying to do the best he can. He's in that zone where you end up crunching panels if you're not carefully. So they're going to have to work very carefully as a group to help him through this. Grant McPherson, his engineer, Craig's done enough of this over a very long period of time. He's just got to bring it home and try and get the best possible result. Cannot afford damage or be in the padding.
Different paint scheme behind him on the famous number 17, the DJR Team Penske entry. Scott Pye at the wheel. They've been changing it each round, more or less, and we actually don't mind that. It's quite cool. PPG and Dakin sponsorship this round. Mostert cleaned up in Armour All qualifying. Special paint scheme to celebrate this round, the NP 300 Navara on Michael Caruso's car. They're our backer for this round as well. We welcome them. Todd Kelly, excellent job. Jayco coverage on that car. Jayco getting right behind a new open wheeler formula in this country. Formula 4 scheduled to debut in Townsville. Greg?
Yeah, we're getting very used to seeing a Pro Drive Racing Australia car form up on pole position. Chaz Mostert absolutely on fire at the moment, looking really good. The difference here we see this time is Michael Caruso and the Nissan next to him. Chaz had a few dramas getting his car off the line in Barbagallo a few weeks ago. His teammate showed him the way. Will he be able to get that combination of clutch and throttle just right to beat Michael Caruso down to turn 1? They nearly formed up. We're looking forward to see the green flag. The revs are going to start to rise about now.
Clean side of the road for Caruso, but the inside of the road for Mostert. 2 key elements. How will it work out?
Here we go. We love the thunder of the V8 supercars. Everybody trackside, particularly near the pit lane on the right side of your screen, can feel it. It's a good start by the Nissan. Mostert getting away. Looks like a tough one for Reynolds in the background. He's under pressure from Todd Kelly as they run down to 1. Reynolds takes the inside line. Kelly is up to 5th position there. The Pepsi Max entry is making a nice start.
So it's a wall of blue at turn 3. Winterbottom got an excellent jump and was pretty easily able to grab a position from Caruso. It's all the typical elbowing that goes on lap 1, cold tyres, cold brakes, and cars trying to run side by side through these early corners on lap number 1. They just can't do it. They haven't got the grip. Lowndes and Bright. So Lowndes has made 1 position.
Mostert's pushing here on the opening lap. He's got a gap, just a little one over Winterbottom, then back to Caruso. Reynolds running right with him there. Todd Kelly.
It's as though Mostert's on a completely different tyre. Look at this margin. So there he is, turn 10. He's already got about 3 or 4 car lengths. So he can already just glimpse the mirror and go, okay, time to just think about putting this car into a nice rhythm, being gentle on its tyres, because managing them over the weekend remains an important story.
Watching the field coming through here. Percat a little ragged through the right-hander. And he continues to stretch the legs of that Pepsi Max Falcon. Mostert with a 1.2 second advantage at the end of the first lap. That's a brilliant start.
So 4th to 2nd for Mark Winterbottom. David Reynolds dropping a spot. Todd Kelly holding. Fabian Coulthard holding his position together with Rick Kelly. Van Gisbergen's put 1 spot on Jamie Whincup.
View from on high as they come through the sweeper. Asking a little of the throttle at that point. Again, riding with Reynolds now.
Reynolds there in 4th at the moment. Michael Caruso in front. He's got Todd Kelly right behind.
Sectors indicate that lost it, continuing to go on with it, continuing to build. 1.5 seconds the margin.
Relatively quiet opening lap by Winton standards. See Jason Bright actually using the pit entry apron there to just widen up the track. So the margin now between Mostert and Winterbottom is 1.55 seconds. That's very tight in that next group. Scott Pye just rounding up James Moffat, who seemed to have difficulty just getting away ideally. But watch car number 5. Perfect jump by Winterbottom. Remember, super strong in Western Australia and had rolling speed to carry straight down the inside of Michael Caruso. But how about the boys 3 wide? Reynolds, Todd Kelly, Fabian Coulthard. They sorted it out because they've all done it many times here. And this is usually the hot spot where somebody fares poorly and either tours the grass or ends up in the rubble on the outside. On board Mark Winterbottom. Let's listen.
Just like Western Australia, gripped up and off he went.
And you can see just the car wriggling around on cold tyres. You can hear in the background that Frosty had to just fan the throttle as it's sliding. Meantime, instantly his teammate was making ground on him, even through those first S's.
Look at the damage. Was it to the 22 of James Courtney as he came through on that occasion? Just at the front of the car. Maybe that's from that opening lap contact that Neil was talking about, that little bit of biff and barge. Let's enjoy this full lap here with car 7.
Dick Johnson once famously described driving a V8 supercar around Winton as like flying an F111 around your clothesline. It was a bit harsh, but he made the point how busy you are, and that was great to stay with Todd there for that lap and just get a sense of how much work is involved in really caressing the car around this location. Just got to ease it around, and you can't afford, with so much turning all the time, to beat up on the tyres and muscle the car. It's not a racetrack that responds to bravery. It actually responds to finesse.
As the cars went by last time, it looked like the damage to the front was in fact to car 2. Garth Tander, and a little bit of niggle between David Wall and Tim Slade, and Slade has been able to move by him into 20th position in the Super Cheap Auto entry, but Mostert is leading the way by 1.8 seconds, as you can see there, over his teammate Winton. It's Slade ahead of Wall now. Wall starting to feel the pressure there from Blanchard, and McLaughlin trying to make progress. Look at him riding the bumper of the Cool Drive car.
Gave him a fair helping hand through turn 9. Just in 23rd. Just goes to show how difficult it can be. There's definitely passing spots around here, but being able to apply it is a whole other question. One of them is here at turn 11. But you basically need a massive difference in car speed or some other advantage in the way that your tyres are wearing. So trying to grab people early in the race becomes a real difficulty. That's why the boys push so hard on those first couple of laps to try and capitalise on cold tyre mistakes.
Tim Edwards, we haven't had a chance to catch up with you since qualifying this morning. Sensational effort by all cars in this Pro Drive Racing Australia garage.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I mean, obviously a little bit disappointed we didn't get a 1, 2, 3 in that, but we can't be greedy. I mean, particularly when Frosty gets a start like that. But yeah, no, it's good. I'm very happy.
It seems since the Australian Grand Prix, apart from, you know, not grabbing a win at Tasmania, you guys have just been on a sensational roll.
The guys are just much comfortabler in the car compared to they were last year, so you know that means a lot. You know, and the relationships are getting better between all the guys. You know, we had a bit of a restructure from an engineering point of view as well coming into this year, so there's a whole host of factors that have sort of all just started to gel, really. You know, we made a lot of other changes to the car aside from just changing to the FGX, so everybody just talks about it as though, oh, you've got a different skin on the outside, but you know, we've been doing a lot of other homework behind the scenes and it's all starting to pay off.
Qualifying speed's looking quite ominous for the rest of the field.
Well, yeah, particularly because that was our weak point for the last 2 years. You know, we look back to 2012 and, you know, we could qualify in the front row, and really, you know, since the implementation of Car of the Future, it's been almost our Achilles heel. We've raced well, but we just haven't been able to qualify up the front, so the fact we can now do that means we can use our race pace as well.
Good luck with the races.
Thanks.
And Andre Heimgartner showed some speed as well. Maybe it could have been 4 cars further up the order. Right now, the Super Black Racing entry is 19th. Stable margin between the two, Neil, 1.8 seconds up front.
This is interesting here because Will Davison and James Courtney find themselves on the road together again. We saw it in Tasmania. There was a flare up there. We've seen it a couple of other times during the year too. And here they are, line astern at the moment, battling for 13th and 14th in the field. Last time out in Western Australia, it was Davison that grabbed 150 points with a victory on the Sunday. Also, no, off the road, big time as McLaughlin backing it into the grass. It looks like he's still got Enge running and can grab first gear and get on with it. Compounding a tough day.
What happened? Oh, they're just idiots. Made a pass of Blanchard. He drove me off the track. And then got spun off coming off fourth. It's ridiculous.
Okay, and the someone then was Dale Wood. And that's where we picked it up initially. Unfortunately, that's the story when you end up down the quali order. Very frustrating. So unfortunately for Scott McLaughlin now, 25th in the field. And 32 seconds behind the leader. Other thing that I was going to make mention of, Greg, just at the point where all that unfolded is when the train of cars goes by now in a cluster, we're very fortunate where our commentary box is positioned because there's just a stunning sound of these cars when they all hit the rev limiter in 5th gear on the run into turn 1, and it's just literally a conglomeration of high-speed metal down there. It's awesome.
Stay with Scotty Sinclair, mate. Great to see 3 of the cars inside the top 10 at the moment. And Mike didn't quite get away. He was unable to hold off Winterbottom to get through, but comfortable sitting there in 3rd. It is quite hard to pass at the moment.
Yeah, it is at the moment. We'll see how it plays out, but obviously, yeah, very happy with 3 in the top 7, I think, at the moment. So James got a bit roughed up on the start, so he's drifted back a little bit, which is a shame, but Michael and the other 2 boys are doing a great job. So see if we can finish it off, get into the next one, do the same.
Well, considering, you know, looking at Mike's pace, he's got a PRA car behind him. They're proving to be pretty quick. Yeah. And Reynolds isn't really looking like he's able to do anything to it. So, you know, strong performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's nice to be this close to the Pepsi cars, to be honest. I mean, they might be taking it easy, but still, the pace they've shown all weekend, I was expecting them to be way out in front. So we can still see their rear bumper. That's good. Hopefully we can tomorrow afternoon as well.
It is a good thing. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
Mark Dutton, this weekend it seems that the Red Bull Racing Australia cars are still trying to find some speed.
Yeah, exactly. We're there on merit right now. It's not a poor qualifying, and we're trying to come through the field right now. We just don't have the car pace. It's a tough old joint. We'll hopefully learn a lot from this race and then build for the second race.
It's important when you're in the championship fight, though, to consolidate points where you can.
Oh, exactly. We can't afford to be doing this, but when it happens, you've got to learn from it and try and improve every race.
Thanks, Sato.
Cheers, mate.
You weren't with us for the qualifying coverage this morning. Neil talked about it in the car of the future era with these new generation machines. It hasn't been a particularly happy hunting ground for Red Bull Racing Australia, but right now Wincup is 9th, Craig Lowndes is 12th. Championship leader Lowndes, and as Neil said, just minimising the damage.
And for Wincup, that's a dropping of 1 position from starting position. And for Craig, he's moved up 2, but they're pretty much in a flat orbit there at the moment. For Craig, he's buried under the rear bumper of Jason Bright. Nick Percat's doing a mighty job here inside the 10 as well. That's the car on the right of screen, Repair Management Australia car 222. He's in behind Wincup, so that's a nice job. And they continue to climb the ladder.
Richard Holloway, I think they call this character building, and the young fella's learning a lot of character right now.
Yeah, well, we said have a bit of fun out there, but I don't think he's having much fun now.
Yeah, I don't think he's probably enjoying this one as much. It's tough. I mean, obviously what happened in that qualifying session, really, really hard. And I mean, I know he said everyone was in the same boat out there, but still, we're just seeing a bit of a replay of him off the road around Tim Blanchard. I mean, everyone was in the same boat, but it's still a really, pretty crappy situation to have that red flagging start from the back of the grid, and this is what happens.
Yeah, no, it tends to happen down the back there a bit. You get mixed up, and then obviously Woodsy's kept his foot in the throttle and just turned him around there. So, yeah, not good, not good.
You got one more, a little bit better for the next race, a little bit further up the grid. So hopefully we'll be able to make something from that.
Yeah, no, we've got a better set of tyres, and we'll give it a tweak and have a go from there.
I'm sure they'll be looking into this incident as well.
I think he might be, yeah, for sure.
Good luck.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Haven't heard any calls from race management yet in relation to that for Dale Wood, but it did look like he left his foot in the throttle. There might be a little bit of a story here. So the bump and grind continues between Dale Wood and Tim Blanchard. This is the typical incident that you see between turns 1 and 2, and Dale just motocrossing on the outside there. So no doubt if they don't react during the race, then that'll be something that gets analysed in greater detail post-race. So that enables officials to look at a separate onboard camera that's in the cars to gather up information and marry it to data, take statements from the driver and then give them detention.
We'll endeavour to catch up with Dale prior to the next race as well. We spoke with Fabian on the grid there about that contact that the teammates had in qualifying earlier today, and you can tell he's got some fire. Woods had some success at this venue before, but not having a great day today, down in 24th. Turn 8 with Lowndes. Chasing Jason Bright ahead, and then Nick Percat. And then teammate Jamie Wincup. You can just see him almost in the distance there.
It's a good example of how important drive traction is off that second gear corner at turn 9, which is super slow. Come off there from 65 kilometres an hour with all that horsepower, punishing the left rear tyre. And drivability, which is another very important aspect of making sure these cars perform. So the driver's looking for engine mapping, it's described as, to deliver the smoothest delivery of horsepower efficiently and with no raspy misfiring in the engine at all. So the cars don't burst into wheel spin. The Lowndes car, as you'd expect, coming off the corner very crisply.
Gap is 2.3 seconds between our front two, the teammates. Pepsi Max crew, the race being led by Chaz Mostert from Mark Winterbottom. This battle still going on. Lowndes with Jason Bright here, both just outside the top 10.
Craig Craig will be just hoping to see a little bit more of that Team BOC car with a wagging tail. Saw a shot just about half a lap ago where Jason was sliding down at turns 11 and 12 a little bit. Here's the view. Lowndes will have the crosshairs on that, be watching the characteristics of the car, looking for vulnerability, and if he's going to have a crack, one of the popular places is the braking approach between turns 6 and 7. Hopeful that if Jason's car slides too much, he'll just jam the 888 car down the inside of it. So that's kind of brewing at the moment. Here we are. Here's the alternate view. This is on board with Bright at turn 11, second gear. And the final corner, which later in the day for our second sprint race, you'll see how difficult that westerly setting sun becomes for finding a brake reference down here. Through here, Lowndes will be trying to get, which is an obvious statement, as close as he possibly can to make an impression at the other end of the track. We'll give you an idea of what the gaps are here between various cars as well. Looking for your favourite driver. There's Tim Blanchard further back to Dale Wood, and remembering that Scott McLaughlin is still at the rear of the field. Right rear view of Dale Wood's car, the Advam entry. See a little bit of the anti-roll bar mechanism, and you can see the shock absorber and spring doing its work there. Something in that lower region, and the lower, what we describe as the A-arm or wishbone, was what would have broken on those Walkinshaw racing cars. If you were watching our coverage in Perth, they had a couple of failures which they've since rectified. You can just imagine the load and the punishment. And this is a relatively smooth track. There's a little bit of curve action here and there, but not a lot. What always freaks me out is just how much tyre distortion there is in the tyre wall. So look at the crush in the tyre wall under acceleration, and then fully extends in droop under brakes, and then you can see that bag distorting, and this tyre will be somewhere in the order of about, using old language here, 30 pounds per square inch, 30 psi. This is turn 11, so it gets dragged the other way. One of the reasons why you have negative camber in the geometry setup of these cars, front and rear, more on the front than the rear because they do the steering, is that tyre distorts, and you're offsetting against that to ensure that you put the maximum amount of tyre contact on the road.
Hey fellas, with Barry Hay down here at LDM. Nick Percat, spoke to him on the grid, mate, and you know, he's chirping around. And you said, I think you listened to Barbagallo the other week, when he's smiling and happy, you know, things are going good, and he's just a completely different guy. But, you know, doing a great job sitting there in 10th at the moment.
Yeah, no, he's looking all right. He had a spring in his step this morning, and he said arrived, he was making jokes, you couldn't get anything sensible out of him at all. So that generally means that he's fast on the day. That's the thing that we look for, and he really comes in, he's looking at track maps, he's a bit focused. We're not in for a good day, so we're looking all right for the weekend.
And we spoke about the fact that the start of the season, you know, there was just so much going on in this team. You guys have been working so hard, having to build a new car and all sorts of things, but it's looking so much more organised and in control in here than what it was a few months ago.
Yeah, no, it's a big difference now. We've actually got 19 guys in the team. When we did Clipsal, there was 6 of us. So, and we've actually got one more car to build before Darwin. So that, I don't know how many that is now, it's just the Red Bull's blurred it all, but so hopefully that'll be the last car and we'll start moving forward. But we're getting to be a race team bit by bit, so it's looking all right.
Timmy Blanchard out the back, battling for World Championships for 23rd. He's making it entertaining there with Dale Wood.
Yeah, no, it's good. Those guys, they're actually, someone mentioned they're going for sheep stations down the back there because nobody wants to be last. So there's been doors banging, and that's probably where the most action's been in the whole race, I've got to say, down the back today. Not much going on. Looks like the procession out there.
Oh, mate, it's not that bad, is it?
No, it's all right. It's all right. We're all cheering for Percat, of course, but no, it'll be all right. It'll be a good weekend, and at least it's not raining here. Normally you come to Winton, freezing cold, pouring rain, but it's all right. It's a Queensland day.
Another one to go too, mate. Don't forget about that.
Touch wood. All right, see you, buddy.
And in the reshuffling of race licences off the back of the last season, Nick Percat was extremely concerned about where he would land because his ride had dried up, and he ended up outside the Walkinshaw Racing squad, and he ended up with the Christmas present also. And there's Eddie, dad of Chaz Mostert. There's the race leader. But he ended up with that great drive at Lucas Dumbrell Motorsport. And if you look on the totem pole at the moment, Greg, he's in front of everybody from Walkinshaw Racing, is where I was going with that point. So that'll be part of the reason why Barry says he's got all the pep in his step, because race driver's pretty easy barometer to read.
Hugely experienced guy, Barry Hay, worked with Russell Ingall back in the day at Stone Brothers Racing. He's made some real inroads in that team, doing a great job with Lucas Dumbrell Motorsport. And their second car of Tim Blanchard, car 3, one of the few that haven't finalised the second driver, the endurance driver. They're down to 2 guys, they say, with an announcement not too far away.
Got your fingers crossed for the drive, Rusty?
No.
3.1 seconds the gap, Mostert to Winterbottom, and there was just a little rear anti-roll bar adjustment then for Chaz Mostert, which signals that he's just starting to look after the rear tyres so they might be hurting a fraction.
Kim Jones, it's close as what you're going to get to a home track here at Winton for you. Last year was such a sensational weekend, but probably not going as well as what you would like this weekend so far.
We've got a lot of racing left to go. We're the leading Commodore in the group, so look, we're doing okay. It's very, very fickle. 1 pound of pressure in the tyres makes a big difference here, and that's what happened in the second qualifying. We didn't quite get it right. So we just keep working away at it. Long race tomorrow. We've still got a lot of opportunities to bring some silverware home.
Unfortunate issue in that second part of the qualifying session this morning as well.
Yeah, it was a miscommunication, but we'll sort that out internally. It's much better if those things happen and it's somebody that's not in your own team. So we'll work hard at doing that. And while I got the opportunity, we've got a very sick friend in Sydney, Pam Jones. I'd just like to say all the best, and all the guys here are thinking about it.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
Ben Croak, team manager here at Erebus Motorsport, and just watching the progress of your guys out there. Will Davis a little bit further back. He seems to be under a little bit of pressure from one of the Walkinshaw cars. Is everything going all right?
Yeah, mate, yeah, travelling along all right. It's pretty tricky and hard to pass around here, so he's following Lounsey. Courtney's putting him under a bit of pressure, but I think we'll be pretty right and we can hang on for the next few laps.
Yeah, and then you've better qualifying position for the next 60k race. Davo did another great job to be inside the top 5.
Yeah, mate, it was a fantastic effort. Another top 5 quali. Hopefully we can get a good start and get ourselves on the podium and hang on there.
It's a bit of a challenge at the moment, isn't it? Everyone's pace is very consistent. No one's really making any mistakes.
They are. They're all so equal. Every car's pretty good out there now, so you just got to rely on someone to make a mistake, which is few and far between now. So.
Good luck for the next one.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Margin's just flattened a little between Mostert and Winterbottom. It's 2.7 seconds now. Chaz can afford to roll out here and there. We're winding off the back end of this first sprint race. If you look down the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you'll see where we're at. And it's 2.6 seconds, so it's actually whittling even further down. Car number 9 on screen, Will Davis in 13th. He's got James Courtney still tucked behind. Then Scott Pye, Garth Panda next, James Moffat, Lee Holdsworth, there's the queue. Tim Slade behind then Andre Heimgartner, David Wall, Ash Walsh, Tim Blanchard, Dale Wood, Scott McLaughlin. That's the back half of the field at the moment.
It's the damage we were talking about for Tanda. You can see it there, the front of the car. 2.8 seconds now, so maybe Mostert is just maintaining that. Is in the top 10. We haven't spoken too much about the Kiwi. Did some sprint car racing after the last round of the championship in WA. Headed to Northam and cut some laps and was pretty handy from what we can gather too. Did a good job. Back with Pye now, position 15.
That's James Courtney in the foreground. Will Davison just in front of him. There's some carbon copy elements at this point of the championship in 15 versus last year. Neither Western Australia nor Winton were particularly strong for Red Bull, were particularly strong for Techno. Sort of seeing evidence of that again. It underscores just how hard it is to try and make wholesale changes to your setup philosophies and the way you go about running the cars at different locations. This is Courtney. So sometimes you just got to deal with it. And if you recall last year, Greg, Whincup had some wins, as he has this year, but it was a real sine wave of success and not failure, but just difficult runs. Then he went away, and I think he's doing it again this year. There was a bit of a gap, and from Darwin onwards, wow, it was like it was a different guy, and they had a different setup sheet. It'd be very curious to see how a couple of the teams respond to their challenges this year. And while all that's been going on, the Pro Drive, 2 Pepsi Max cars and their sister cars as well, they have capitalised. They've got cars that appear to be very well set at the moment. Drivers have got a high level of confidence. And one of the things that they've taken quite a bit of stick for over a long period of time is trying to maintain a consistent campaign. They got off to a pretty strong start last year, and then the opposite happened to them. They got into a taper, and it went away from them the back half of the year. I can't see them making the same mistake this year. So I think very early days, a long run to December from here, but they're in good shape.
3.2 seconds now between Mostert and Winterbottom. This is almost done. Race 1, and I haven't asked him about it, to get back to your point about Whincup. Some suggestion that he's headed to Red Bull headquarters, to Austria after this, and possibly to catch the Monaco Grand Prix, maybe even catching up with Daniel Ricciardo there. But at the moment, we're focused on the run home here, and the 23-year-old who did a super job in qualifying in WA.
And we sniffed around in the garage in the 2 practice sessions yesterday, and I made the point earlier in the broadcast today that there was no evidence of any concern at all about the behaviour and setup of a car. They put the tools down, they were just getting a read on the way the tyres were behaving. There's complete harmony in that side of the garage, and he's just gone on with it. Despite the blip and the hiccup of the awkward qualifying for this race, he's still stuck it on pole, and he's got a margin to burn at the moment. He's taken it back out again now to 3.5 seconds, and he's got the fastest lap of the race, and he's got a whole lot of fresh air behind that rear wing.
You can tell with the way he's driving the car to it. It's not easy. V8 supercar racing, we promise you, is not. But he makes it look easy. That's because the car's going so well. The team are doing a terrific job. He's gelling very well with his engineer. But crucially, Chaz Mostert is doing the job behind the wheel.
No burnouts, no slides. Look after our tyres, please.
He takes it out. Race 10 of the championship at Winton goes to Chaz Mostert. It's a 1-2 for the team. And David Reynolds home inside the top 4. It's been a good hit out for Pro Drive Racing. Excellent stuff, Michael Caruso. The congratulations at Nissan. And when you look at it, 3 Nissans in the top 10. Todd Kelly 5th, Rick Kelly 7th. Adam DeBore. Well, he's just come here riding on that form from WA. His teammate once again had a demon start. It was a jet off the line, car 5, Mark Winterbottom. But Mostert held it from pole position and converts for the race win. Terrific stuff for Michael Caruso. Just not...
mate, so end of race procedure, you've got to drive to the end of the pit lane.
Pleased to see that outcome for Michael. He showed great pace in Adelaide, right at the very beginning of the championship, and then found himself in the wars. And then it's often quite difficult to recover from that, and he has.
Lots of the fans off to the left of your screen here. They camp at Winton. It's a great experience.
Be awesome out there today. It's absolutely
beautiful.
A gorgeous day.
And they're hugely appreciative. They love their motor racing here, so they'll be just as excited for Chaz Mostert as he enters the lane. Scott McLaughlin as well. There's another story from this race. What a drama-filled day it's been for him. Let's hope he can bounce back and have a reasonable run in the second race to come this afternoon. Race 11 of the championship. Big afternoon of action still here. And as Neil said, this is just the form outfit right now, and we've seen it at a variety of venues. Anything can happen in this game, but just unlikely that you would see that change. It's going to make for a great competitive remainder of the championship, but this is the outfit to beat. Awesome stuff for Chaz Mostert. There's his dad in the background.
Full conversion, pole position, maximum points. Great moment for the family and friends, great moment for the team, their backers, all that crew. This is what they work very hard for. That was a copybook performance from Chaz Mostert. Very mature drive, held that cushion. And straight away in the first lap, it was evident that he had the pace, didn't he? I mean, even when you saw the onboard shot from Winterbottom wriggling through the first S's, Chaz was making ground straight away.
Chaz Mostert, congratulations, pole position. It looked easy from the very start. You grabbed your first win for season 2015.
Yeah, it's amazing. The car was hooked up as it was in qualifying, but you know, it hung on to its size pretty good. So we've got some good data. Take it into the next race, and hopefully tomorrow we can also be strong with the big points race.
Fantastic to have your teammate on the podium as well.
Yeah, in the first race at Perth, I finished second to him, so it's a nice little change for one race, but I'm sure he wants to get up on me in the next one.
And some silverware from the girls for race 10 of the V8 Supercars Championship. Mark Winterbottom, well done. Second on the podium. Fantastic result for the entire team at Pepsi Max Ford.
Yeah, awesome day, you know, to I guess qualify 1, 3 and 4 as a team, and now the next one we're 1, 2, 3. It's nice to actually get the results, not just qualifying. So he's quick. My car isn't there to catch him at the moment, so we'll go and have a look. But yeah, it's all at the start. I seem to do good at the start and make my spots there. But yeah, good to see him win. You know, he's quick and he's doing a really good job. So we're going to try and catch him.
Silverware for yourself, and look what you can do in the second race this afternoon. And Michael Caruso, fantastic result for Nissan Motorsport. You've got the new livery on the car. We said earlier this weekend, red cars go fast.
Yeah, they obviously do. No, look, it's great for everybody at Nissan Motorsport, particularly the MP300 Navara. It's obviously a big event for us here at Nissan, so it's great to get on the podium.
Well done, and some silverware to add to the trophy collection. Congratulations.
JB Whincup, you know what, the look on your face actually tells us how hard a job it is out there at the moment for you. You guys have been working away, blazing along, and trying to get that #1 car just to your liking. It's been a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, it's been a struggle, mate. Hey, congratulations to the guys that were quick today. Yeah, we just didn't have it. Just didn't have any pace. We were holding up a customer car there for a while with a budget of about $1.5 grand for the year. But yeah, you know, we had a little bit of tyre life there, but everyone's complaining about the formats. But to be honest, we just need to lift our game a bit and get up there and make a race of it.
You reckon the fact that the last couple of years you've been here too, running around on the soft tyre for as much as you have, is compounding that a little bit, being that data and that information isn't there?
Possibly. Yeah, we've got a few changes within that may be helping in some way, maybe a negative in another. But we just got to get pace, you know. And when you've had pace and you run up the front, it's hard to drop back in the pack. It's not much fun, but that's all right. No complaints. It's up to us to pull our finger out, so to speak, and try to get a bit quicker.
You'll be all right.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
He's competitive, isn't he? A hard marker. We recap the results for you. Chaz Mostert's first race win since Bathurst last October. His first single driver race victory since Barbagallo last year. 1-2 for the Pepsi Max crew. Awesome.
First podium of the year also for Michael Caruso. First podium of the year for Nissan Motorsport. So that's just reward as well for very hard work. They'll be pretty pleased with that one. They get some valuable points. They get to do it all again this afternoon because we've got another SuperSprint race coming up at Winton Motor Raceway. So let's check out the highlights now of our first SuperSprint race, again in gorgeous conditions. If you missed the start, it was a brilliant hole shot by Chaz Mostert, and he just bolted. Winterbottom was very, very quick and was able to carry that speed straight down the inside to turn 1, easily past Michael Caruso, but there was nothing he could do about his teammate, who just bolted down the road. And already, by the time he got through the first half lap, had something in the order of 4 or 5 car lengths. There was the typical scuffles going on at the very back of the pack, people running out of road and finding the dirt. Just check out how big this margin is and how little wheel work is involved in Mostert's performance there at the moment. He's just turning the car precisely where he wants it to be, and it does exactly what he asks. Down at the very back end of the field, these guys are all banging their heads together. It's McLaughlin, Blanchard, Wood, Ash Walsh was in here as well, and then Dale Wood seemingly maybe kept a little percentage of throttle in there. They'll look at that later on, and Scott McLaughlin was off the road. That just adds to the wounds for him from qualifying, where he ended up off the road at turn 3. Then the headbutting continued down between turns 1 and 2 for Dale Wood and Tim Blanchard. This time the motocross action was Dale Wood in the grass.
Very different outing for him compared to 12 months ago where he finished third in this race. Michael Caruso, Neil talked about the result for him and how important it is in the 2015 scheme of things, but it was Mostert. He becomes the 7th different race winner from the 10 races we've had so far in 2015. Brilliant stuff. And his first of the year. These guys are in great form, and still 2 races to come at Winton before this round of the championship wraps up. So updated championship standings for you. Lowndes remains on top from Winterbottom and Courtney, but note that Courtney, who was second coming into the weekend, has dropped to third, and it's the first time for him outside the top 10 all year in race terms.
And Lowndes did a good job of just holding at least some points and maintaining a cushion. But there's the man of the moment, Chaz Mostert, his first win since Bathurst last year with Paul Morris. A great way to start the weekend.